They called him crazy before they called him a hero. He liked it better that way. Jason Parker had never cared for opinions, not when survival and love were on the line. Today, though, the stakes were higher than ever. His twin daughters, Maya and Nia, clutched at his arms, faces flushed with fear and indignation, while the playground erupted in chaos. A group of older kids, well-fed, entitled, and cruel, mocked every word the girls dared speak, laughing at their skin, their hair, their accents. Jason's jaw tightened, heart hammering, because this wasn't just teasing. It was a trial by fire, and he was determined to walk through it alive with his daughters in his arms, unbroken. Maya's small hand gripped his sleeve as she whispered, "Daddy, they're not going to stop." Her voice was trembling, but there was fire in her eyes, a mirror of his own stubborn defiance. Nia leaned on his side, silent but resolute, her twin braids swinging like pendulums, her mouth set in a line that refused to crack under pressure. Jason inhaled, feeling the weight of both the past and the present on his shoulders. The last thing he wanted was to fail them. He had fought corporate boardrooms, societal expectations, and the silent judgments of neighbors who assumed his life was chaotic because he was a single father. Yet nothing had prepared him for the venomous ease with which children could mimic the prejudices of adults, and he had sworn a quiet vow months ago when he picked the girls up from kindergarten. He would protect them from the world, even if the world didn't deserve his mercy. The first punch came almost by accident, a push that sent Maya tumbling toward the asphalt. Jason lunged, catching her mid-fall with the reflexes of a man who had once protected not just himself but soldiers in war zones halfway across the world. "Not today," he muttered, standing over the group like a wall they couldn't climb. The bullies froze. Some of them, merely children themselves, were shocked to see a man so unafraid, a man whose love and fury radiated in equal measure. "Back off!" Jason's voice cut through the chaos like steel through fog. "You touch them again, and you'll regret it." His words were calm but carried a weight that made the lead-era bratty 12-year-old with a permanent sneer hesitate. The playground noise hummed in the background, a mix of swings creaking, teachers shouting, and distant car horns. But to Jason, time slowed down. He felt every heartbeat of Maya and Nia against his chest. Then, from across the yard, she appeared. Lena Hawthorne, Jason's ex-wife, the mother of his daughters, and the CEO of a multinational company whose presence could command both boardrooms and social media storms with a single glance. She walked with a deliberate elegance, hair perfectly coiffed, suit immaculate, and eyes sharp with authority and barely restrained emotion. The irony wasn't lost on Jason that the woman who once commanded his life with corporate power now stood frozen at the edge of the playground, unsure whether to intervene or observe. The girls stiffened. "Mom!" Maya's voice was a mix of hope and fear. Lena's lips parted, her sophisticated veneer cracking for a brief moment. She had seen them, her daughters, caught in a battle they should never have had to fight. And suddenly the CEO mask fell away, revealing only a mother's panic. Jason did not wait for her decision. He stepped forward, placing himself between the bullies and his daughters. The group scattered, sensing the authority in his stance and the protective love in his eyes. Jason's chest heaved, muscles taut, adrenaline coursing through him. Maya clung tighter to his sleeve. Nia, brave as ever, reached for her mother's hand, whispering, "We need her." Lena moved toward them with hesitant steps. Each one felt like an eternity, a silent admission that despite the corporate battles she had mastered, the most human struggle, the protection of her children, was beyond all strategy. Jason's gaze met hers briefly, the unsaid words heavy. "We are doing this together, whether we like it or not." The moment fractured. A teacher, alerted by the commotion, arrived, eyes wide, assessing the situation. "Is everyone all right?" she asked, glancing at Jason, who kept his daughters close. Maya and Nia nodded, still shaken. Jason forced a smile that was both exhausted and triumphant. He knew they were safe, at least for now, and that was all that mattered. But the threat was not gone. Across the playground, parents whispered, phones raised, gossip waiting to be born. Lena approached, heels clicking against the pavement. Jason. Her voice was soft, a ghost of the intimacy they once shared, yet firm with the authority of a woman who had never been used to being powerless. They're fine, Jason said, eyes scanning the perimeter. But it won't stop. Kids like that, they feed on weakness. I can't let it happen again. Lena nodded, swallowing her pride. Then we fight together, whatever it takes. She extended her hand not formally, but as a bridge, a fragile reconciliation born out of necessity and love. Jason took it, feeling the old spark of partnership, complicated and strained, light a small fire of hope in his chest. The twins, sensing the shift, relaxed slightly, their faces brightening with cautious relief. Can we go home now? Nia asked, tugging at her mother's hand. Jason's smile widened despite the tension. Home, he said, safe at home. But home had never been a simple concept for them. For Jason, it was the apartment they shared after the divorce, modest but full of warmth. For Lena, it was the penthouse where decisions affecting thousands were made, yet where the absence of laughter and the echoes of her daughter's voices had carved deep loneliness. Today, though home meant something different, it meant the fragile, courageous unity of family, regardless of past mistakes or societal judgment. As they walked away from the playground, side by side, the wind carried the faint scent of blooming jasmine from the nearby gardens. Jason glanced at Lena, her hand brushing against his. No words were necessary. The understanding was complete. This wasn't about romance or business. It was about survival, love, and the courage to face the prejudices of the world as a united front. In the back of Jason's mind, he knew challenges awaited. School administrators would debate the incident, parents would gossip, and the media, if it got wind, might sensationalize the story. But for the first time in years, he felt an undeniable truth settle over him. They were a family, imperfect and battered by life, but unbroken. And for his daughters, that was everything. Maya leaned into his side, whispering, "Thanks, Daddy." And Mom. Jason squeezed her hand, Nia mimicking the gesture on the other side. Lena looked down at them, her stern face softening, and allowed herself a brief, honest smile. The world outside might judge them, challenge them or fail them, but here, in this moment, they had won. Jason knew the road ahead would not be easy. There would be confrontations, whispers of gossip, and perhaps even threats from those who did not understand their family's dynamics. But he also knew that every step, every act of courage, every stand against prejudice, would teach Maya and Nia the power of resilience and love. He had always believed in protecting them physically, but now he understood that protection also meant teaching them the strength of their identity, the value of their worth, and the unyielding power of familial loyalty. For Lena, it was a revelation. The boardroom strategies and corporate conquests she had relied on for years suddenly seemed small and hollow compared to this raw, unfiltered experience of motherhood. Watching Jason with their daughter's fierce, compassionate, unyielding, she realized that leadership in life was not measured by profits or power, but by the courage to stand up for those you love, even in the face of ridicule and danger. As they reached the car, Maya and Nia clambered in, still buzzing with adrenaline but visibly calmer. Jason loaded the car with practiced efficiency, while Lena followed, carrying the smaller backpack that had escaped Maya's grasp during the scuffle. The city hummed around them, oblivious to the small yet monumental victory that had just taken place in a playground shadowed by cynicism and cruelty. Jason settled into the driver's seat, turning the key in the ignition. The engine purred to life, a comforting sound amid the lingering tension. Lena climbed in beside him, and for a brief moment, silence enveloped Thema shared, contemplative pause that spoke volumes. Words were unnecessary. Their actions, their unity, and their love for their daughters had said everything that needed to be said. The journey home was quiet at first. Maya pressed her face to the window, watching the blur of the city pass by, while Nia held tightly to a small stuffed bear that had survived the chaos of the playground. Jason's hand rested lightly on the gearshift, but his eyes never left the road. Lena's hand brushed against his arm occasionally, tentative and searching, a silent reassurance that they were in this together. Finally, Maya spoke, breaking the stillness. "Daddy, will they ever stop picking on us?" Jason exhaled, a mixture of weariness and determination. "Maybe, but every time they try, we'll stand taller. We'll face it together, and we'll show them that love is stronger than hate." Nia nodded solemnly, taking in her father's words. Lena, hearing this, felt a lump rise in her throat, moved by the strength and simplicity of his conviction. The apartment door closed behind them, shutting out the world for a moment. Inside, the space felt alive, filled with laughter and tears, hugs and whispered reassurances. It was a sanctuary built not by walls or locks, but by the courage, love, and resilience of a family determined to survive prejudice, judgment, and adversity. And as night fell, casting a gentle glow through the windows, Jason, Lena, Maya, and Nia sat together, a tangled, imperfect, but unbreakable unit. Outside, the city buzzed with indifference, but inside, a quiet revolution had taken place, a victory of love over fear, courage over cruelty, and family over all else. For the first time in a long time, they could believe in tomorrow not as a threat but as a promise. The next morning, sunlight poured through the blinds, sharp and relentless, much like the scrutiny Jason knew awaited them outside the apartment. He brewed coffee while Lena prepared breakfast, their movements synchronized in a way that spoke of years spent together, though now tempered by distance and unresolved tension. Maya and Nia sat at the table, animatedly discussing the previous day's events, their voices a mix of indignation and pride. "I can't believe they called us names," Maya said, shaking her small fists. "But Daddy, you were like a superhero." Jason smiled, ruffling her hair. "Superheroes exist when they're needed. But remember, it's courage, not just strength, that protects us." Nia nodded, her serious face showing maturity beyond her years. Lena watched them quietly, a sense of awe mingling with lingering guilt. She had missed so many moments of their childhood because of work, because of ambition, and seeing Jason rise to the occasion stirred emotions she had long buried. After breakfast, they prepared for school. Jason walked the twins to the car, keeping a watchful eye on the neighborhood. Mothers, fathers, and older kids milled about, some whispering, some giving fleeting nods, others blatantly staring. A group of parents from the previous day's playground incident lingered nearby, murmuring and pointing. Jason's jaw tightened. He had anticipated that the conflict wouldn't end yesterday. Prejudice rarely did. As they approached the school entrance, Maya clung to his hand while Nia hesitated, glancing at Lena for reassurance. "Mom," she whispered, voice trembling slightly. "Are they going to yell again?" Lena's expression softened. "We'll face it together," she said firmly. "No one can take your worth away, not today, not ever." The girls drew courage from her words, stepping forward with Jason flanking them, a protective barrier built from love and determination. Inside, the principal called them into her office. Mrs. Davenport, a stern woman in her 50s with thin glasses perched on her nose, looked between Jason and Lena. "I understand there was an incident yesterday," she said carefully. "We take bullying seriously. We need to discuss measures to ensure the safety of all students." Jason nodded, but his gaze remained on the twins. "Measures are good, but I want action," he said. "They can't just talk about policies while kids feel unsafe every day." Lena added, her CEO precision evident in her calm voice. "We also need accountability. The children who attacked my daughters need to understand the impact of their actions. This is about teaching respect, not just issuing warnings." Mrs. Davenport hesitated, clearly caught between protocol and the undeniable weight of their combined authority. Jason noticed Lena's subtle satisfaction. She had a way of framing demands that left little room for negotiation. Outside the office, the twins felt a mixture of relief and anxiety. Maya whispered, "Do you think it'll be okay?" Jason knelt beside them, keeping his eyes level with theirs. "It will be. You've already survived worse than words. Today, they'll learn that love and courage are stronger than fear." Nia smiled faintly, gripping his hands tightly, a silent pact forming between father, mother, and daughters. The next few days brought subtle changes. The bullies avoided direct confrontation, though whispers and sideways glances persisted. Jason implemented daily check-ins with the girls, listening to their fears and frustrations, reinforcing resilience and pride in their identity. Lena contributed by speaking at school assemblies, emphasizing respect, diversity, and the importance of empathy. Her words carried weight, and while some parents bristled at the notion, many students responded positively. Despite progress, tension simmered beneath the surface. At a parent-teacher conference, one mother, sharply dressed and aggressively polished, questioned Jason's parenting. "Are you sure you're equipped to handle twin daughters alone?" she sneered. "Especially daughters of color in a challenging environment?" Jason's teeth clenched, but he maintained composure. "I've been raising them with love, respect, and attention to their needs," he said evenly. "Their well-being is my top priority, and I won't apologize for protecting them." Lena's presence beside him strengthened his stance, a silent assertion that their family unit was resilient and capable. One afternoon, after school, an anonymous letter arrived at Jason's apartment. The envelope was plain, unmarked, but the contents were not. Insults directed at his parenting, the girls' race, and even subtle references to his past relationship with Lena. Jason read the note silently, his fists tightening. Maya and Nia, curious, peeked over his shoulder. "Daddy, what does it say?" Maya asked innocently. Jason took a deep breath, forcing calm into his voice. "It's just words. Words can hurt if we let them. But remember, love is stronger than words." Lena, observing from the doorway, furrowed her brow. "We can't ignore this," she said. "Some people will always try to undermine you because of who you are and who we are together. But we can respond wisely." Jason nodded. "We respond by showing strength and integrity, not fear. That's the example they need." Lena smiled faintly, admiring his unwavering commitment. As the weeks unfolded, the school environment slowly transformed. Teachers received training on racial sensitivity and bullying prevention, and the students witnessed the rare unity between a father, mother, and their children confronting injustice. The twins became symbols of courage among their peers, their laughter returning, though guarded, to their daily lives. One evening, after a long day of meetings and school activities, Jason and Lena found themselves alone on the apartment balcony. The city lights shimmered below, a mosaic of lives continuing oblivious to their struggles. "I underestimated how much courage it takes to be a parent," Lena said softly, leaning on the railing. "You've shown me strength I didn't realize I had the privilege to witness." Jason looked at her, a mixture of exhaustion and warmth in his eyes. "We're all learning," he replied. "The world can be cruel, but love can teach lessons no one else can." Suddenly, a commotion broke out below. Maya and Nia had run to the park, chasing each other with laughter that pierced the evening stillness. Jason and Lena watched them, the faint tension of prior days replaced by hope. Their daughter's joy, resilient and bright, was a testament to the battles they had faced and the victories they had won, however small. Yet peace was fleeting. The CEO board at Lena's company demanded she focus solely on corporate matters, subtly criticizing her for distractions. Meanwhile, Jason's colleagues and neighbors whispered about his unconventional family setup, making him feel the sting of societal prejudice. But neither allowed external pressures to dictate their actions. Together, they reinforced their daughter's sense of security, embedding in them the belief that family was defined by love and courage, not conformity. One particularly tense day, Jason received a call from the school. A student, emboldened by peer pressure, had attempted to provoke the twins again. Jason's first instinct was rage, but he paused, remembering Lena's earlier words about wise responses. He met the student calmly, explaining the impact of his actions and inviting him to participate in conflict resolution sessions. It was not an easy path. There were tears, arguments, and stubborn resistance, but slowly, understanding began to take root. Lena supported this approach, leveraging her executive skills to organize workshops on inclusion and empathy at the school. She shared personal anecdotes, subtly revealing her own experiences as a mother navigating prejudice, without exposing vulnerabilities. Jason marveled at her ability to combine authority with compassion. Together, they created a framework not only for protecting their daughters, but also for fostering a community that valued respect and understanding. Maya and Nia, observing these developments, began to internalize lessons on resilience, assertiveness, and empathy. Their laughter returned fully, punctuated by moments of deep conversation with their parents. "Daddy, I stood up to someone today," Maya reported one afternoon, her chest swelling with pride. Jason hugged her tightly. "I know you did. That's courage, and it will guide you your whole life." Nia, sitting nearby, mirrored her sister's determination, her face alight with newfound confidence. One weekend, the family visited the City Museum. Surrounded by art and history, Jason and Lena explained the stories of perseverance, struggle, and triumph depicted in the exhibits. The twins absorbed the lessons, asking questions that revealed their growing awareness of the world's complexities. Lena, watching them, felt a profound connection not just as a mother but as a human witnessing the next generation's awakening to courage and justice. As evening fell, they walked through the streets, hand in hand, a visible unit of defiance and love. Strangers occasionally glanced, some curious, some judgmental, but Jason and Lena's focus remained on their daughters. Each step symbolized a triumph over societal prejudice, each smile a quiet victory over fear and discrimination. Back at home, Jason prepared dinner while Lena helped the twins with homework. The apartment, modest yet filled with warmth, was a sanctuary from a world that often misunderstood them. In that space, their conversations flowed freely about school, about dreams, about challenges. Jason encouraged honesty, resilience, and empathy. Lena modeled assertiveness, grace, and strategic thinking. Together, they formed a holistic framework of values and skills for Maya and Nia, balancing love with preparation for life's inevitable battles. The week drew to a close, marked by small victories and ongoing vigilance. Jason and Lena had weathered storms of prejudice, fear, and judgment, but the unity of their family had strengthened. Maya and Nia thrived, their laughter ringing through the apartment as a symbol of triumph. Even amidst external pressures, the family discovered that love, courage, and resilience were more powerful than hatred, fear, or societal bias. As night settled, Jason looked out the window at the city skyline, Lena beside him, and felt a rare sense of calm. "We're not perfect," he admitted, voice low but steady. "But we're ours, and that's enough." Lena nodded, resting her head lightly on his shoulder. "It's more than enough. It's everything." The twins slept soundly in the next room, shields of trust and affection enveloping them. Outside, the city continued its relentless rhythm, unaware of the quiet victories within the apartment walls. Inside, though, a family had reclaimed agency, courage, and love. Their struggles had not ended, and the prejudices they faced were far from vanquished, but they had discovered a fundamental truth. Together, they could face any storm, overcome any challenge, and emerge stronger, united, and unbroken. Weeks later, the tension that had simmered beneath the surface finally erupted. Jason had received reports that the twins were still being subtly ostracized, whispered about by peers, and occasionally targeted by more sophisticated forms of bullying. It wasn't physical anymore. It was psychological, mean notes in lockers, exclusion from games, and insidious jokes that left Maya and Nia questioning their worth. Jason felt a knot in his stomach, the kind that threatened to consume rational thought. But Lena, ever strategic, reminded him that this required careful planning, not brute force. They convened a family meeting in the living room, the twins sitting cross-legged on the rug, Jason on the couch, and Lena in her favorite armchair. "We've been doing well," Jason started, voice calm but firm. "But some challenges are still out there. Not everyone understands who you are or why love matters." Maya's eyes widened. "So, we just ignore them?" Nia asked, a little defiant. Lena shook her head. No. We respond wisely. We educate. We protect ourselves and others without letting anger take control. Jason leaned forward. Tomorrow, I'll be meeting with the principal again. We're going to implement a program for the students' lessons on empathy, diversity, and courage. But I need you both to know, no matter what anyone says, you are enough, exactly as you are. The twins nodded, absorbing their parents' words, a quiet confidence settling over them. Jason glanced at Lena, seeing the familiar spark of collaboration, the two of them, separate and flawed, yet united in purpose, stronger together than they ever were apart. The next day, Jason and Lena faced the school board together. Lena, poised and commanding, laid out a comprehensive plan for student workshops, teacher training, and anti-bullying initiatives. Jason spoke from the heart, recounting firsthand the pain and resilience of Maya and Nia. Board members shifted uncomfortably in their chairs, some skeptical, others impressed by the rare combination of raw emotion and strategic clarity. One particularly vocal board member, Mr. Whitmore, cleared his throat. While I respect your intentions, Ms. Hawthorne and Mr. Parker, aren't these issues family dynamics, parental involvement better left to parents? We can't legislate morality. Lena's eyes narrowed slightly, but she smiled politely. This isn't about legislation. It's about creating an environment where children can learn, grow, and feel safe. Morality isn't a policy. It's a culture we cultivate. Jason added, and culture starts with leadership. If we model courage, respect, and inclusion, children will follow. The board deliberated, and by late afternoon, they had reluctantly agreed to a pilot program. It was a small victory, but in Jason's mind, every small victory mattered. Lena squeezed his hand discreetly, a silent acknowledgement that their partnership, though complicated, was yielding tangible results. Returning home, the twins were ecstatic, though tired from school. Did you really change things? Maya asked, her eyes shining. Jason laughed. We started the change, and tomorrow we'll see how it takes hold. Nia hugged both parents simultaneously. I like our family, she whispered. Jason's heart swelled. I like it too, and no one can take it away. But life had a way of testing them relentlessly. That night, a threatening email appeared in Lena's inbox. Anonymous, digitally masked, filled with vitriol about their family, their daughters, and the unnatural union of their parenting efforts. Lena's hands shook slightly as she read it aloud to Jason. They're escalating, she murmured. Jason's jaw tightened. Then we escalate too, but with courage and action, not fear. We protect our family, and we protect the values we're teaching Maya and Nia. The next morning, Jason accompanied the twins to school, Lena following in her car. As they approached the playground, a group of older students blocked the path, smirking. Jason felt a flash of anger but forced himself to remain composed. The twins looked up at him, searching for guidance. He knelt to their level. Stay close to me. Stay together. And remember what we talked about. The leader of the group, a tall boy named Derek, stepped forward. Thought you could run from us yesterday? He sneered. Jason's eyes locked with his. I'm not running, but I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to teach you respect. Derek laughed, but before he could react further, Lena arrived. She didn't yell. She didn't threaten. She simply stood there, radiating authority and calm. Enough, she said, voice cutting through the playground chaos. You will leave my daughters alone, or you will face the consequences. The students hesitated, sensing the combined weight of Jason's protective fury and Lena's executive authority. Derek muttered under his breath but stepped aside, his friends following. The twins exhaled, relief washing over them. Jason knelt and hugged them tightly. See? Courage works. You don't always need to fight to win. At home, Lena organized a meeting with her executive team and community leaders. They planned a public awareness campaign on bullying, diversity, and family inclusivity. Jason contributed by sharing personal stories, grounding the campaign in real experiences. The initiative gained traction quickly, drawing attention from local media, activists, and even national organizations. Suddenly, the family's private struggle became a beacon of hope for countless others facing prejudice. The twins thrived in the new environment. Maya joined a school debate team, her voice confident and articulate. Nia excelled in art, her paintings reflecting a vivid understanding of empathy and resilience. Jason and Lena attended every performance, game, and exhibition, providing support without overshadowing their achievements. They watched as their daughters blossomed, strengthened not by immunity to prejudice, but by the courage to face it. One evening, Jason and Lena found themselves on the balcony again, watching the sunset. "Do you ever regret it?" Jason asked, voice low. Lena considered. "Regret? No, but I underestimated the challenges. And I underestimated you." Jason chuckled softly. "Underestimated me?" Lena smiled. "Yes, you've shown me that love, courage, and persistence can move mountains, even corporate ones." Jason's phone buzzed. A message from the school principal. The program they initiated had been overwhelmingly successful, with students reporting increased empathy and fewer incidents of bullying. Teachers were inspired, parents cautiously optimistic, and the twins' classmates began showing genuine friendship and inclusion. Jason felt a surge of pride not in himself, but in the family they had built together. But peace remained fragile. One afternoon, a journalist arrived unannounced, eager to cover the controversial family story. Jason's instinct was to refuse, but Lena persuaded him otherwise. "We control the narrative," she said. "We show the world who we are on our terms." The article, when published, highlighted their courage, their innovative approach to bullying, and the love that bound them. Social media erupted with both praise and criticism, but the family weathered it together, teaching the twins that visibility could be powerful when paired with integrity. As weeks turned into months, the community began to shift. Other parents came forward, inspired by Jason and Lena's approach, forming support groups and volunteer programs. The twins' school transformed into a model of inclusivity, a living testament to the impact of steadfast love, courage, and advocacy. Jason and Lena had turned a personal struggle into a movement, showing that resilience and compassion could change lives. One evening, Maya asked quietly, "Daddy, Mom, will it always be this hard?" Jason held her close. "Life will always have challenges, but remember this: we face them together. Love gives us strength. Courage guides us. And you, my girls, are the bravest people I know." Nia nestled against Lena, who kissed her forehead. "And you are never alone," Lena whispered. "Not now, not ever." Months later, at a community award ceremony, Jason and Lena were recognized for their extraordinary contributions to promoting inclusion and combating bullying. The twins sat proudly beside them, their small hands intertwined with their parents. Jason, usually reserved, spoke from the heart. "This isn't about us. It's about every child who deserves to feel safe, loved, and valued. And it's about showing the world that families come in many forms, but love is universal." Lena added, her voice steady and inspiring, "Courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, persistent, and patient. But it changes lives one heart at a time." As applause filled the room, the twins smiled, tears glimmering in their eyes. They had witnessed firsthand the power of family, love, and integrity. The journey had been long, painful, and fraught with societal prejudice, but it had led to a triumph of the human spirit. Jason and Lena shared a brief glance, an unspoken acknowledgement of the battles fought and the victories won, not just for their family, but for countless others who would benefit from their courage. That night, back home, the family sat together, exhausted but elated. Maya and Nia shared stories of their day, laughter ringing through the apartment. Jason and Lena listened, interjecting guidance, encouragement, and pride. Outside, the city hummed with indifferent energy, but within their home, a revolution of love, courage, and resilience had taken root. Jason reflected quietly, watching his daughters sleep later that night. The scars of yesterday's prejudice remained, subtle yet persistent, but they were outweighed by the bonds of family, the lessons of courage, and the knowledge that love, when steadfast, fearless, and unapologetic, could change the world. Lena rested beside him, her hand brushing his shoulder. "We did it," she whispered. Jason smiled, a rare, unguarded expression. "We did, and we'll keep doing it for them. For us, for everyone who needs to see that love can overcome hate." Weeks turned into months, and the family began to find a rhythm in their new reality. School mornings were still tense, but Maya and Nia now walked with heads held high, knowing they had their parents' unwavering support. Jason continued to escort them, but the stares and whispers had less sting. Students and even some teachers had begun to recognize their courage. Lena's campaigns at school gained momentum, fostering inclusivity and empathy in ways that had once seemed impossible. One afternoon, Jason received a call from the principal. A group of parents wanted to meet with him and Lena, not to criticize, but to understand how to protect and empower their own children. The family's personal struggle had sparked a ripple effect, creating allies where once there had been ignorance. Jason exchanged a brief glance with Lena, a shared smile acknowledging the power of their united front. At the meeting, the parents listened intently as Jason spoke from experience. "It starts with small acts," he said. "A kind word, standing up when you see injustice, listening when children are scared. Courage doesn't have to be loud to be effective." Lena added her perspective, outlining strategies that combined empathy, education, and practical guidance. By the end of the session, several parents committed to implementing the principles at home and in the community. Jason felt a warmth spread through him. Their fight had transcended the confines of their own family. Meanwhile, the twins flourished. Maya joined a writing club, sharing stories about bravery and friendship. Nia excelled in art competitions, painting scenes that depicted hope, resilience, and unity. Both daughters exhibited a growing awareness of the world's injustices, but also of the power they had to influence it. Jason and Lena encouraged this growth, guiding without controlling, fostering independence alongside moral strength. Then came an unexpected challenge. A local news channel wanted to feature their story. Jason hesitated. Exposure brought vulnerability. Lena, though cautious, convinced him it was an opportunity to amplify their message. "We show the world the truth," she said. "We show that love and courage can rewrite narratives." The interview aired in the early evening. Jason spoke first, voice steady, eyes never leaving the camera. "My daughters are brave, not because they haven't faced prejudice, but because they've learned to stand strong despite it. And every child deserves that same strength and protection." Lena followed, her elegance and calm authority evident. "We are a family, not defined by convention, but by love, courage, and respect. This is a model every community can embrace." After the segment, messages poured in from viewers' parents, educators, and even children themselves. Some shared stories of their struggles, thanking Jason and Lena for being examples of resilience. Others offered support, donations for school programs, and encouragement for continued advocacy. The family felt the profound impact of their courage on a broader scale. Yet not all reactions were positive. Anonymous threats and online harassment persisted, a reminder that prejudice was never fully eradicated. Jason and Lena addressed these challenges together, teaching Maya and Nia to confront fear with intelligence, courage, and empathy. The girls learned that while hate might exist, it could be neutralized by knowledge, solidarity, and moral strength. One evening, during a quiet dinner, Maya asked a question that had been on her mind. "Daddy, Mom, do you think people will ever fully accept families like ours?" Jason looked at Lena, then back at the twins. "Some will, some won't," he admitted honestly. "But that doesn't matter as much as what we do with our love, our courage, and our actions. We set an example, and every step toward understanding matters." Nia nodded thoughtfully, absorbing the lesson with the clarity only children can muster. The following weeks brought a milestone. The school implemented a formal anti-bullying curriculum inspired by the family's initiative. Jason and Lena were invited to participate in workshops, guiding teachers and students through exercises in empathy, conflict resolution, and understanding. The twins were included in select activities, their perspectives valued, empowering them to see themselves as both participants and leaders. Then came the culmination of their struggle, a school assembly recognizing the importance of diversity, courage, and love. Jason and Lena walked the twins onto the stage, holding hands. The auditorium, filled with students, teachers, and parents, fell silent in anticipation. Jason spoke first. "This assembly isn't about us. It's about every student who has felt afraid, judged, or excluded. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the choice to act in spite of it." Lena followed. "We are all part of a community, and every act of respect, every stand against injustice, strengthens us all. Love is not limited. It is expansive, inclusive, and powerful." As the audience applauded, Maya and Nia felt a surge of pride and validation. They had endured ridicule, fear, and misunderstanding. Yet here they stood, acknowledged, celebrated, and empowered. Jason looked at Lena, sharing a silent, profound understanding. The battle had been worth every hardship, every sleepless night, every pang of doubt. The months that followed were marked by gradual but steady change. The twins' classmates began to engage in acts of kindness. Inclusion became the norm rather than the exception, and Jason and Lena's advocacy inspired other families in the community. They had turned personal struggle into systemic change, demonstrating that love, courage, and persistence could overcome prejudice, ignorance, and fear. At home, life settled into a fulfilling rhythm. Weekends were for family outings, homework assistance, and creative projects. Maya and Nia explored new hobbies, built friendships, and developed a sense of agency over their lives. Jason and Lena, despite past conflicts and societal pressures, grew closer as partners in parenting, their bond strengthened by shared trials and triumphs. One evening, as the family sat together watching the city skyline from their apartment balcony, Jason reflected aloud. "We've faced hate, ignorance, and fear. We've fought battles most people can't see. But through it all, we've built something unbreakable." Lena rested her head on his shoulder. "And we continue to grow, to teach, and to protect. That's what matters." Maya and Nia leaned against them, sleepy but content. "Do you think we'll ever forget what happened?" Nia asked quietly. Jason smiled. "No, but that's the point. Every challenge taught us something about courage, about love, about who we are. And we carry those lessons forward." Lena kissed Nia's forehead. "We carry them together, as a family." Months later, the twins celebrated their 8th birthday. Friends, teachers, and supportive community members gathered. There were balloons, laughter, and the scent of cake in the air. Jason and Lena watched Maya and Nia play, the chaos of childhood blending with pride and relief. It was more than a birthday, it was a testament to resilience, love, and triumph over prejudice. Later that evening, after guests had left, Jason and Lena stood in the empty living room, the twins asleep in their beds. "We did it," Jason whispered, voice filled with emotion. Lena nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "We did. Not perfectly, not easily, but with everything we had." Outside, the city continued its relentless rhythm, indifferent to the struggles and victories of one family. Yet within the walls of their home, a revolution of love, courage, and resilience had taken root. The scars of prejudice remained faint, but were overshadowed by the bonds of family, the power of moral courage, and the hope of a brighter, more inclusive future. In the weeks and months that followed, Jason and Lena continued their advocacy. They hosted community workshops, spoke at school events, and mentored other parents facing similar struggles. The twins grew with them, embodying the lessons they had learned: resilience, empathy, courage, and love. Their laughter, once shadowed by fear, now rang freely, a sound of triumph echoing through their home and community. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Jason and Lena sat on the balcony, holding hands. Maya and Nia played in the living room, their voices carrying upward in gleeful chatter. Jason squeezed Lena's hand. We've changed the world, even if just a little. Lena smiled, leaning her head against his shoulder. A little is enough when it matters this much. Jason looked at his daughters, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the room. Remember, he said quietly, love is stronger than hate, courage stronger than fear, and family is everything. Lena nodded. And as long as we stand together, there is nothing we cannot overcome. The family sat together, unified, resilient, and hopeful. The battles had been many, the prejudices harsh, but their love, courage, and persistence had prevailed. Outside, the city hummed with life, but within this apartment, a family had reclaimed their power, their joy, and their hope. The future remained open, filled with challenges and possibilities, but for the first time in a long while, Jason, Lena, Maya, and Nia felt certain of one truth. Together, they could face anything, overcome any obstacle, and continue to shine as a beacon of love, courage, and hope for the world. As night deepened, the lights of the city twinkled like distant stars. Jason watched his daughters sleep, Lena resting beside him, and a profound sense of peace settled over him. The journey had been grueling, but it had forged something unbreakable. A family united not by circumstance, but by love, courage, and unwavering commitment to one another. And in that quiet, sacred moment, the Parker Hawthorne family knew they were home. Not just in a place, but in each other. And in that unity, there was nothing more powerful, nothing more enduring, and nothing more hopeful. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.